Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much, and remember.
You referenced in your earlier conversations about how the federal government should have raised funds to meet some of ASU's demands some way. You referenced the oil sector, and you talked about the fuel subsidy and all of that. So I'm wondering, well, perhaps to speak first to the issue of the fuel subsidy, exactly where do you think that is even going? At a time when just a few, I think about a month or two ago, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning was saying that our debt service, to service our debts, we had to borrow money to service our debts.
Even to pay salaries?
We're not talking about paying the loan itself. To service the loan.
Of course.
We borrow to service the loan.
Yes.
Not even to pay the loan.
Yes.
So where are we going? And now we're talking about an increment to fuel subsidy?
Again, the leakage in the economy through the fraudulent fuel subsidy regime can end today. On the 8th of August 2018, the Federal Executive Council approved the sum of 17 billion naira to acquire a software to monitor and track all vessels loading fuel in Nigeria, crude oil in Nigeria, taking them to wherever in the world. And the same software is to monitor and track all trucks or tankers loading fuel in any part of Nigeria and taking them to wherever. After that meeting, the then Minister of State, the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, announced to the entire nation, we are stopping this monumental fraud once and for all. We are going to acquire the software. It was announced. When I discovered a year later that the money had gone elsewhere.
So the money was released?
Yes, but not spent for the purpose. I wrote a petition to...
Not spent for the purpose,
yes,
purchase of the tracker.
The software was not acquired. So I wrote a petition to the FCC. This is a case of serious economic crime. No reply. I've just renewed the petition now under the new management of the EFCC. And I got a letter thanking me for my advice. I said, no, I'm not giving advice. I want an investigation. Today, we are told we don't know how much oil is produced in Nigeria. No. The instrument in 2012, by the way, the Jonathan administration, after the protests of that year, set up a committee headed by Nuhu Ribadu. That committee recommended to government, you must acquire and install meters in each of our oil terminals. Up till now, the government has not acquired those meters for all the terminals, like about 36 terminals. So, and that is why some people have said, this is a sabotage from within. So why did you not install the meters? To know the number of barrels of crude oil produced by Nigeria daily. Why did you not acquire the software to track the ships and the trucks taking fuel, bringing, taking crude oil out of Nigeria,
out of the country,
and distributing, fuel. So, but again, this is not my own language. The current Minister of State in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Mr. Timpre Silva, has said the fuel importation scam is a criminal enterprise. Those are his words. The Comptroller General of Customs has gone to the National Assembly to say this is fraud.
Speaking
So
of,
the government can therefore install the meters, because today, our OPEC quota is 1.8 million barrels per day. We are currently producing 900,000 barrels because of oil theft. So the remaining 900,000 barrels at the current price of about $100, we are losing not less than $99 million a day. It cannot be accepted.
it is not only the Minister of State that considers it a fraud. Yesterday, Pengasan was speaking at the public hearing by the House of Reps. Let me read what the president of Pengasan said. I can authoritatively inform this committee that men of the Nigerian Army, the Navy, pay their superiors to be posted to Niger Delta,
Yes.
even when the former commander of the amphibious brigade in Port Harcourt was removed. Many of the men in the command resisted being posted out due to the lucrativeness of their operational bases. Are we alarmed as we should be about this revelation?
No, I'm not
by
alarmed because
Pengasan?
I know it's been on for some years. I'm not alarmed. I'm only alarmed that the government has failed or refused to stop the criminal enterprise.
So what then do you make of the hearing, the Senate hearing on this, that made this revelation?
Nothing will come out of it. But this is not the first time they are conducting such hearing. A lot of these proceedings are meant to divert the attention of the public. It's not the business of the with profound respect. It's not the business of the National Assembly to really investigate these matters.
But is it
Once a crime is committed, an economic crime,
But the Senate...
that is turning the country into a nation of beggars. You call the FCC, you call the ICPC, you call the police. Can you, gentlemen, can you jointly get to the root of this criminality?
What is disturbing there, Mr. Falana, is it's not the first time, by the way, that the Pengasan president would come out in the open.
Of course.
To talk about the military, the entire apparatus of the military being culpable in this matter. Is that to say we are helpless? Who then is supposed to take that on?
No serious state can be said to be helpless. In this age and time, you know, it's like security. You can sit down in your office using drones and satellite dishes to monitor all criminal activities in the country. So I get worried when people, oh, there are some terrorists in the bush or terrorists in the forest. I beg your pardon. This is a modern, situation. So if you have not installed CCTV cameras in your city, you have not installed proper technology, you can't combat insecurity. The same thing. I have given you information. You must now ask them. The Petroleum Equalization Fund was to have hosted the software. 17 billion naira was collected. So the question of anybody stealing oil will not have occurred. The question of some criminal elements smuggling fuel across the border will not have occurred, because you can monitor every truck, you can monitor and track every ship. Now there is a company on Lagos Ibadan Road, 40 kilometer 40. I won't mention the name. I persuaded the managing director, go to the NNPC Abuja. Because he convinced me. And I went there and I saw the equipment that can track pipelines, all the pipelines, oil pipelines in the country. But they are not interested. So now you are now awarded contract of billions of naira to a non-state actor who will now be giving weapons to monitor pipelines. It's crude. It's primitive in this age and time. So these are the problems. So the equipment is in the country to monitor oil pipelines. The software, money was allocated to acquire the software to monitor movement of crude oil and fuel. But the government has not done so. The other one that will be interesting, and I've said this publicly, between January 2011 and December 2014, the oil that left Nigeria, crude oil that left Nigeria, and discharged in one port in America, Philadelphia port. The difference between what was recorded here and what was recorded in America was 60.2 million barrels of crude oil, valued at $12.7 billion. NIMASA had set up a team of lawyers to help track the fuel that was stolen from Nigeria. So this one, they were not to move and check other ports in America, in China, in the UK, in France, and in other countries that our oil was taken to. The government was not interested. A petition was submitted to the government, to the FCC. Nothing happened. I'm going to just advise now on what to do. So the shipping companies and oil companies involved are known
to the government.
Oh yes, to the government.
So you saying,
and because of frustration that this matter was not taken up by the agency of the government set up to investigate financial and economic crime. The lawyers involved, a team of lawyers, led by my respected colleague, Professor Fabian Ajogo, had to rush to court to compel the indicted oil companies, powerful oil companies, to pay the government the value of what has been stolen from Nigeria. So the government has the information.
So are you saying that the Senate monitoring of oil installations, which should be going on about now, and the hearing conducted by the House of Representatives is just for the optics?
No, I say similar hearing. A lot of probes had been carried out in the past, and nothing came out of them. And nothing will come out of this one because it's not their business.
So if government knows this, as you said, is a criminal enterprise, I mean, you quoted.
The government, that's the language of the government.
So that's to say government knows the prime actors of this enterprise. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the government said. That's not my language. I'm using the language of the minister. But what I'm saying, science and technology have left the government behind.
Or that they chose...
Or the government has refused to acquire the necessary tools to prevent fraud. There is fraud.
Mr. Falano?
There's fraud in every country.
To whom was this $17 billion or $1 million that you talked about for the software? To whom was it released?
Ministry of Petroleum Resources. And the software was to be warehoused by the Petroleum Equalization Fund.
You have also said something significant, that the award of contracts to a former Niger Delta warlord, to monitor pipelines is crude. Why would government choose that over the tracker?
You should be asking the government. But I've just told you there is a company that can sell to the government the equipment to monitor the entire pipelines. And Nigeria is the only oil-producing country, by the way. But Nigeria is the only oil-producing country that has refused to acquire the meter to monitor how much crude is produced. Deliberately.
There are those who would also point, Mr. Falano, to leadership. The question around this is a little befuddling for me, because you've cited this enterprise, as you quoted the minister saying, dating back as far as 2012. So it has traversed one government after the other up until this moment that we're in. So then, is it a problem of leadership or that of bureaucracy or politics?
Like President Obasanjo, the current president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Alhaji Buhari, is the Minister of Petroleum Resources. So the ball stops on the step. So I want to believe that the regime will address this problem. Now that top officials of the government are coming out of frustration to expose the institutionalized fraud in the production of crude oil, in the supply of crude oil, and importation of fuel into the country, okay, and the alleged smuggling to neighboring countries.
Okay.
So I want to believe that with this information oozing out of government quarters, that we may be getting to the root of the matter.
Just one more thing, Mr. Falana. Look at the legal frameworks or instruments that is preparing us for the 2023 elections across board. The Electoral Act, the Constitution, and several others like that. What, for you, are the crucial issues that the laws and agencies must be funded and strengthened to champion in order for us to have a free, fair, credible election in 2023?
In fairness to this regime, the fund earmarked for conducting elections, in other words, the budget of INEC, the fund is released as and when required. So funding is not a problem. But the political will of the ruling class to conduct good elections in Nigeria is a problem. And right now, there are worries. And for me, as a lawyer, there's no country in the world where you don't have fraud with respect to election. You saw it in America when President Trump called up people, electoral officials in Georgia, to rig elections. And when he didn't win the election, he instigated litigation about 62 cases. But again, unlike here, between November when the election was held and January when you were going to have the inauguration of the president, all the cases were heard and dismissed by the courts. In spite of that, President Trump staged a coup on the 6th of January before the inauguration on the 20th. But for the fact that the institutions in America were strong, the coup will have succeeded. So, and that is what, for me, our people must be vigilant. And so far, civil society organizations, credible voices in the society are monitoring the process. But what is important for us is for INEC to bear its true name, Independent National Electoral Commission, and not allow politicians.
Anything compromising that independence?
There are threats by politicians. And all the officials of INEC involved in such compromise and sabotage must be kicked out of the system. I mean, for instance, the case of Senator Lawan and Machina, in spite of the fact that INEC said in its report, somebody did not take part in the primary. An official of INEC went to court to swear to a false affidavit. In Akwa Ibom, again, arising from the crisis around the emergence of Senator Akpabio, the police recommended that a top official of the ruling party in that state be charged for fraud, for forgery. Nothing else happened. In Ekiti, in Osun State, those who were selling and buying votes, many of them were arrested. Nobody has been charged with any offense. In Osun now, very disturbingly, the INEC gave a report to one of the parties, Biafra's report, specifically to the APC. An election petition was filed. Only for INEC to now go to court and say, we made a mistake. We hadn't synchronized the Biafra's report we gave you. So if such violations of the law continue, we're going to be in trouble. And that is what I mean by saying the INEC chairman in particular must insist on working with staff that are committed to transparent elections. And those who commit electoral offenses, either as staff or politicians or members of the public, will have to be prosecuted.
Mr. Falana, you've just started another topic, but we are out of time.
Thank you.
We have to thank you very much for being a part of our conversation this morning. Femi Falana is a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.